Okay, here we go. Oh, is this just for me? Earmuffs. All right. Okay, so homers. Oh, okay, that's us. We're homers. What movie? Oh yeah, you talked about Zombieland and Zombieland. The ones that are homers are all fat white guys. Yeah, I guess that's your nickname for us. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so you got Aints fans. Come on. Why should they have earmuffs? All right. Okay, so you're going back to Jacksonville. Okay, Jacksonville against New England. Was that 4 years ago, something like that? So we're not going. We can go, yeah, you can go all the way back, but let's just start there. You want to talk about Jacksonville? Yes, there were a lot. I remember there's a controversy about like New England only had one penalty, but if you look at the game, they had like 50 or 60, but only one called. So yeah, you weren't going to let. I'm not saying that word. Okay, just he's not a Jew. I got it. The guy in Jacksonville's not a Jew. Got it. Okay, so move on from there. I don't know who they played. That was a championship game? So that was Jew on Jew. Got it. Okay. All right. So then you talk about the Saints. Okay. So the Saints had the Minneapolis Miracle, but they would have lost the next week at Philadelphia no matter what. Got you. And they were owed one because of what happened. So the next year you had the Phantom push off, right? Yeah. I understand what you're saying, that it's not only the calls, it's the no calls, right? The ones that, so kind of give me what you're talking about here. With Okay, you want to bring up the Chiefs. All right. I was always leads to the Chiefs with you guys for me. Okay, so let's just talk about the Chiefs then. Last year, the Phantom call on Brady. Let's talk the offsides call that was 2 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah, last year we played the 49ers. So 2 years ago, the Phantom call. All right, there were how many? There were quite a few Phantom calls, and you're saying it's not because it's Tom Brady, it's because Robert Kraft's in the owner's box. Correct. I just don't get. Are you saying the officials? Okay. All right. Is everybody hearing that? Yeah, there's a lot of doubt in what you're saying, but we'll go ahead and push forward with it. Yeah, don't look at the official who's going to investigate somebody not making a call, right? Except the blatant one that you said that the issues with, right? The one with last year or the year before last with New Orleans, because you had, right, the Phantom, not only the flagrant no call against the Rams, but see, but the Rams are not. They went to the Super Bowl, but okay. So the preferred, but the guy that owns the Rams, he's not Jewish. So how can? Okay, I don't get that. But anyway, you would rather the getting to the Super Bowl thing was to get the Rams against the Patriots because you think the Saints would have beaten them. So you're able to pick and choose who you want to play against. All right. Okay. Well, and then if you have, well, there was, I don't know, was there any controversy in the Super Bowl? I didn't watch. It was so boring. Yeah, I just kind of just like zoned out on it. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, you were not going to have not have a Jew in the tournament or in the Super Bowl. Still don't get that, but kind of explain to me the no calls. You said there were several no calls in that game, but yeah, the D Ford thing is the one I wanted to. You told me about that. Okay. All right. So the official when the normally when a player's already lined up, you said Ford was already lined up, and then the center took the ball and moved it forward, which brought him off sides. The official will tell him to move back or not make a call when that happens because the ball has been moved. And if you look at the tape, I don't know. I haven't really looked at it. But are you saying that when the center moved the ball forward a few inches, that brought D Ford off sides? Right. And it had been that way if you looked at the whole game, but on that specific call. If it didn't work out, they got another down. If it worked out and they got a big gain, they could decline the penalty. So they can manipulate the game that way. Right, by making it. That's making a call. Not making a call is when Tom Brady was supposedly hitting the helmet. Wasn't even close. They discussed it. Right. Usually, if that is somebody in the booth, they'll say, "Hey, he didn't touch his helmet." Right. And they won't make the discussions public, and for that very reason. Okay, so right. Well, if D Ford would have been paying attention, right, he would have backed up. But he lined up onside initially, and the guy moved the ball. Is that what you're saying? You're saying it wouldn't have mattered. He still would have called it because they're supposed to tell them, hey, right? Because on the initial lineup, okay, here's what he's saying. On the initial lineup, the ball is in one spot. It always moves. The center will pick the ball up, move it forward, and set it down. Or, yeah, he doesn't just take the ball from where it is. He grips it, moves a few inches forward or a few inches back, a few inches forward usually, which caused D Ford to be offsides. Correct. So they usually won't call that because the center had moved the ball. I really don't know. I mean, I'm taking your word for it. I'm sure there's some tape on there showing where he lined up before the snap, before the center grabbed the ball and moved it. I didn't see it, so I'll take your word for it. But you're saying it wouldn't have mattered. They were going to make that call no matter what. Right. Well, there was a lot of controversial calls in there. And you're right. People were saying, well, that's the Brady effect. Brady gets the calls. And you're saying it's not Brady getting the calls, right? It's if you have a J in the owner box and a G in the owner's box, the J is going to get the calls, which has been that way for years. Got it. Okay, so you're saying don't look at the referees or the officials, look at the officials' families. Okay, here's what he's saying. The officials, you can't pay off an official technically, but you can always use your financial power to provide a contract for a company the official may own or work for, where they can get a bonus, or where a member of their family gets a job and a really good job, or um, different types of inducements for calls going a certain way. Uh-huh. Now, okay, if you're saying if you took all the officials in the NFL and you submitted them to the TBT, that they would pretty much all not show up because they know they're going to get in trouble. It's the same thing you've been saying forever. It's like who's in charge of looking over at the NFL? Well, right? You don't have a majority in the NFL yet. I know you said you're working to it for the next 5-6 years. You're looking forward to gaining a Jewish majority in the NFL and turning it into the NBA, and the NBA is bombing. This. Well, yeah. So, the reason why Tampa Bay will win, the reason will maybe shock you. What is the reason? Okay, you're saying they've been instructed to make no calls for roughing on Patrick Mahomes and DPIs. You won't see a DPI on Tampa, but you'll see DPIs on defensive pass interference, correct? Right. Holding. You'll see a multitude of, okay, got you. The flags are going to be fewer, but they're going to be skewed depending on how the game goes against the Chiefs. And that's predetermined, right? You're saying it's because you have a J in one owner's box and a G in the other one, the J is going to win because the fix is in. Well, it's something you can't pre-see something. Well, okay, you're talking about Ziggy Wolf is a J, and Benson down there, I guess the name, was a G, and his family. And you're saying the reason why there was no call made on an obvious offensive pass interference is because he's a J and he's a G. Jew and a Gentile, right? Okay, so who are the easiest ones? I don't know who didn't make the call in the Saints game. And Schwartz says that's not a good thing to say. People can look it up, but I just said it. But anyway, you say they're easier to manipulate. God. How do you know so much about the Bible? Okay, so what he said was, it only takes, instead of 30 pieces of silver to betray yourself, it takes 3 pieces of silver. Got it. Still got to put some silver out, but just not a lot less. To people who didn't have very much, you can give. Right. If somebody has gone through their whole life making $500 a week and they suddenly get a job worth $800 a week, it's a significant increase. Or somebody who's gone through their life making $7,000 a week gets pushed up to $7,500. It's not a huge increase. Right. To them, it's barely a bit in the screen. So you can give the same amount or less to somebody, and it'll seem like a lot more. Got it. You guys are a piece of work. All right. So you're saying that the reason why Tampa Bay is going to win is not going to be play on the field. It's going to be the play from the owner's box and the officials. All we can do is wait and see. I mean, if there is phantom calls or questionable calls, Okay, you went back to how Tampa got there, and you said you can see the obvious pass. There was an obvious pass interference call that they did not miss, or that they did miss, correct? Which would have changed the game. That's keeping the whistle in your pocket, and you're saying that's because there's a Jew in the owner's box, and on the other side, it's I guess, a Gentile corporation, right? Because there's not really an owner, right? So yeah, it's obvious there, and you're saying it's not because they missed a call; it's because it's the officials have been told we need this game to go this way. Okay, and if it wouldn't have mattered if Rodgers completed the pass in the end zone or not. If he would have completed the pass, they would have called a holding call or, okay, gotcha. Right, they would not allow them to win the game. Okay, I mean that's you guys. That's not me. I mean this is coming from right. Well, how much did you guys put down? 3. Wow, that's a okay. Because if they win, they cover the spread. Gotcha. Okay, so we'll see if there's some controversial calls coming up. You go back and look, and you say it's not about who's on the field or who the player is. For all this time, people say, well, the Brady rules, and it's who's in the owner's box. And then if you're going to take issue with it, don't look at the players, don't look at the officials, but look at what's surrounding the officials. Yeah, because the NFL investigates itself, and I don't know if it's illegal for a official in a sporting event to take inducements or have somebody in their family. Right, it's the Washington model. Okay, the Washington, D.C. model is that if you want to influence a congressman, you can't give the congressman $2 million for this, but you can hire the congressman's wife or like Hunter Biden as an advisor. Hunter Biden, you guys keep bringing him up, as an advisor and pay him $2 million, correct, which he can then funnel back to his father, paying back school debt or, right, even just, yeah, you can influence him by making things in his family better. His wife gets a job as an advisor or on a board someplace, and the board gives her, $500,000 a year to sit on this board of a corporation or something, even a charity, anything where they can be paid off in a certain way, and it indirectly benefits the person. Well, it directly benefits them because they get the money indirectly. So if you have a referee who works for company A and you have a Jewish owner who has multiple companies, and say, well, company A and company B, we can provide you with X amount of stuff to a contract or something. Or if your son needs a job, he can come to work for company B, or your wife, she can come to work for company B. Got it. Well, keep your eyes open. I'll keep my eyes open. If you guys are right, let's just have to see. I mean, I'm not gonna, I know you got this whole long thing about it, but it just sounds like a conspiracy theory to me. Okay, yeah, you just point out conspiracy facts. Look at them. I see what you're saying here. Is if you want to go back and look, go back and see they don't go against players, they go against teams. They go for teams, not players. Okay, it makes some sense. All right, we'll get off of this subject.